All right, so welcome to Stats, just the stats, MMC Stats. This is November, and we're going to be talking about October statistics. We'd like to welcome our special guest of Landon Kessler with Idaho First. He helps us out a ton with all of our mortgage needs, and we appreciate him here. And everybody jump in when you have questions or anything to share, and we'll give Landon some time to talk about the mortgage market, which continually ceases to amaze us with the low rates. And it's just, we're in a crazy market. So an incredible market in many ways. So we're doing these stats. This is covering basically Bingham County, Bonneville County, and Jefferson County. We're combining those statistics to kind of give an idea of Southeast Idaho in this corridor. And so we continue, even with low inventory, we continue to be up in sales over last year. 257 homes sold last October, 285 homes sold in October 2020. So even with low inventory, I don't know how we're able to continually increase those. And I don't know how we're going to continue to do it, because you'll see that inventory is even lower than it was last month, but we're almost at an 11% increase. Here's kind of a breakdown of closed so far. You can kind of see that hotspot still continues to be between 100, and it's really not even 100. It's probably more like 150 to 160 to about 400,000. And this is kind of a breakdown of the closed sales in these areas and average sales price. You can see that even in the higher end stuff, it's not taking very long to sell. If you're priced right, they're moving.
Those houses used to be 6 months a year, 2 years to sell. So
Totally. So if it's going on and it's priced right, they're moving relatively quickly. The only place that we're seeing triple digit is that $600,000 to $700,000, and I bet there's a few of those. There's an outlier.
Yep.
So
there was the one that sold in there that dropped into the right price range, and it had been on the market quite a while.
What we see in this crazy market is people think, oh, well, let's throw our house on the market. It's not a magic market. So the people that are throwing on high are skewing our numbers right now. But for the most part, if you're pricing it right and you're following market data to determine your price, you're moving fast in almost every price range right now, which is incredible. So year to date so far, we are ahead as well. And last year at this time through October, we had just over 2,500, and now we're over at 2,600 homes, 6.2% increase. So I guess with inventory low, as long as we continue to grow, I mean, it makes it a lot more competitive, but it's just interesting. It's interesting. Here's the thing that is the craziest number for me of all these statistics is our average sales price increase. If you look at 2019, we were scratching our heads that we were at 258,000 as an average sales price. Who would have thought we'd be up almost 29% at $332,000?
This is Chad, we talked about with people saying, I'm going to wait till the prices come down, because that seems unbelievable that we would see that in our market.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have just as much chance of next October us seeing an average sales price of $450,000 as we do a decrease in the market crashing. In fact, it's probably more likely that number is going to be higher next year than lower with the way things are right now. So I don't think it's super realistic to think we're going to be dropping. Year to date, it evens things out a little bit better. We've gone from 245 to 286,000. So it's still a 16% increase, which is huge. Obviously, those aren't sustainable for much longer. Something's got to give eventually. So we'll just kind of see where that goes. Okay, this is a big one. I mean, so many times. How many of you guys are meeting with people and time after time again, they think they can offer low and have a shot at getting the house? I mean, time after time again. People are like, well, I know what I'm doing. I've done this before. Well, unless they've bought in the last 2 years, they haven't done this before. And if you're writing an offer 5% low, and I'm the guy that loves to do that. I love to go in low, but it just doesn't work. I mean, it doesn't work. You can look through every single home that sells. I mean, you probably have a 1 in 1,000 shot. And for those that get it, it's either got to be a fixer-upper or it's got to, be on the market for a long time. And so you pretty much are offering over full price right now. 101% is the list price to sold price right now. You're getting over full price. List to sold.
Chad, you say, if a house has been on the market for a while, you'd obviously offer lower. I ran into a situation yesterday where we were going to offer on a house that had been listed for a little bit over, it was almost a month. And because we told the agent we were going to write an offer, that agent went to every single other agent that had shown it.
As they should, as they will, yeah.
Exactly. And so, I mean, you still run into, just because it's been listed does not mean that you can go in lower. I mean, because that other agent is going to go and find as many offers as he can to bring in to drive up the price. So,
Casey, I might mention what a listing agent would think is if you're going to come in 5%, maybe they've had a hard time getting that seller to drop the price on that house, and you come in 5% lower. That agent says, we don't have to go that low. If you would have just lowered 2% like I advised you, we're going to get more offers than this, and we may go back up. You don't need to accept at 5%. Let's just drop the price on the MLS and see who else comes out of the woodwork. So it's still, even at that point, you're helping the seller get more money out of the house. They're still probably most likely not going to go and take your lower offer.
Right. Absolutely.
Here's something interesting too, because there's different perspectives of communication. So I said on the market for a while, for me, market on the while is 90 plus days. Casey, for the reality right now in her world, is on the while is like 3+ weeks, right? I mean, that's a home. If it's been on the market for a few weeks or a month, that's rare.
Yeah, it is. And that makes automatically buyers assume what's wrong with the house. Like, why isn't this one selling? Or it makes us as agents, look at the comps and we're like, why did they start high? What was it? Why is it just sitting? Because homes aren't sitting right now. They're going. If they're priced right, they're going. So
yeah, you got to wonder how many cats come with the house if it's been on the market over 30 days.
Another thing to know as well is that if you're also looking at the days on market, number one, what is the average days on market for that price range, which we just talked about, and letting the buyer know actually they're still within average days on market, even though it's been 4 whole days. It seems like everything's selling in a day. Not necessarily everything's selling in a day. But another thing too is on the days on market that they've had, how many price drops have they had? Because if they've had a couple of price drops, they might now be within the range of where they're supposed to be. So there might not be room just because they've been on market for a little while, because they're down to where they really should have been. And so it's important to know about the price drops too in the history of it as well.
Yeah, because there's patterns, right? It's all about patterns.
Well, and also whether or not it has gone pending and come back on.
Yep.
What's interesting about that is that's another reason why having an agent is so important. That is stuff only agents know. You can't get that information on Zillow. You're not going to get any of those things. So an agent, again, super crucial to talk to an agent.
Also, if you have, an agent who does this full time, who this is their full-time job, then I will say that we are seeing, obviously multiple offer situations. And in those multiple offer situations, buyers who are offering full price have no idea why, when they offered full price, they didn't get it. They don't know how to compete with other buyers who are offering full price. We are specifically specialized in this. There are other things besides price. Price is always number one, but there are other things besides price that definitely weigh over, what a seller is going to pick. And so that's what we're here to help with is in a multiple offer situation, what do you do? And of course, our bottom line is to help you get the house, but without ever overpaying for the house at the same time.
That's a really good point, which is why it's so important for buyers to interview agents and kind of find out about them. And so for example, we had someone call in the other day, and they've been trying to find a house, and they were frustrated because the agent that they'd been talking to, every time they wanted to go look at a house or make an offer, they would say, well, you know what, there's multiple offers on this. I don't like to work with multiple offers, so let's see if we can find one that doesn't have multiple offers. Well, do you think that buyer is going to find a house? I mean, it just doesn't.
Not in this
I mean,
market.
yeah, it's crazy. So anyway, we're seeing basically, again, homes are getting on average full price every single time, 100% of list price.
And this, Chad, the fact that we're at a 10-month average, that is significant.
And all of 2019 was at 99.7%. So homes have been going for full price right now for basically over 2 years. So anyway, let's move on to the next slide. And that leads us to days on market. So in 2019, days on market was really low at 35. Well, it's even lower at 30. And again, this number I think is a very deceiving statistic, because average is deceiving, because you have all these homes that we see. We don't see many homes go to 30 days, but then you have these outliers that go for 90 days, 120 days, 150 days, and they are overpriced, not getting showings. I mean, our true days on market is probably like less than 14 days, but it's 30 days because that's how averages work. So we're seeing that get lower. Year to date, it's 34 and 34. Basically, it's flat. We're seeing kind of the same thing. Bottom line, it's just really, really, really fast. So this is a crazy number. This is a number I don't like either. So current homes on the market, 143. Okay, last month we had 170. We're down 16% on inventory. When I looked up,
Sorry, question. So this is just Bonneville County, correct?
Nope, this is Bingham, Bonneville, Jefferson. Okay, Bonneville County this morning was at 71 single-family homes for sale in our market. And when I threw in there condos and townhomes and recreational properties and manufactured homes with land, it took us only up to 87. So Bonneville County, we talked about this a couple months ago, that we were probably going to start seeing us go under 100, which we didn't want to have happen. We thought it would be closer to December. Well, it hit us faster than we thought, and here we are under 100, and we'll probably be under 100 until February. And if you go back to that last slide, Jess, our absorption rate is like a half a month. Like, we're going through double the amount of inventory through 1 month. If another home didn't go on the market, we'd be gone in 2 weeks. What's that?
Why did you say it'll probably be like that until February? Like, what do you like? Is it just because of winter months? Is it just cold? Like, what?
Well, we typically see a reduction in activity and listings in November and December, and then that reflects on closings in January and February. And we don't see that uptick in listings until about February-ish. Right now, the market does slow a little bit. I mean, it doesn't ever stop. A lot of people think it stops. It doesn't stop. But if there's ever a time of the year where we do see a decrease in activity, it's in November, December.
It's that discretionary seller. If they can wait past the holidays, they wait. There's still people that sell and they're the more motivated. The most motivated, I think, we see in November through January.
And we always see also in this time of year when homes sell for the highest price, list per sell price. And so expect prices are not going to soften. This is when it's always the strongest because there's not as much inventory. But with it this low, we're going to see over. And here's another stat that I've never really seen. We typically see appraisals get hit in June. Right now, how many of you have you seen listings that are pending and the appraisals are coming in low? I mean, I don't remember ever seeing that happen outside of the kind of the spring rush. But right now, I'm seeing it all the time. And I'm seeing it happen like huge. Like, we're talking $20,000 to $50,000 lower than the price. And
so Chad, that also is is reminiscent of the idea of the market is not going to let 2007, 2008, 2009 happen again. Those appraisals are on lockdown. And so in that aspect, if a seller says, I want to sell over and I want to go high, there will still be, unless they're going to only take cash offers, there will be a checks and balances available in that. And that's going to be that appraisal. And the seller says, I want more, they're willing to pay more money. That appraisal says that they're not going to lend on that. That is the checks and balances of the market that are in place right now. And Landon, we probably could talk about, what are you seeing?
Yeah, I was going to mention that with the appraisals. I didn't know how much experience you guys had seen with that, but this last month has been crazy with that. And it's not like anything we've ever seen before.
Have you ever seen that in November? I don't remember ever seeing appraisal issues in November, December.
No. And it was, it's a one-off where everyone knew that the list price was high and it was a unique property, or, everyone has their own value of a property, right? If they fall in love with something and are willing to pay a certain price, that's really the true value of a home. But yeah, appraisers still have to find comparables to support that for us, the lender, and to give the buyer some sort of assurance. So yeah, we may be seeing that more and more. When you see a value or an average sales price increase like we did, I'm surprised it hasn't happened more often, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah,
there's some that get through and I'm amazed. I'm like, oh, yeah.
I think that shows indicative we've had a lot of cash. And so that puts those comparables out for the appraisers. When someone overpays with cash, that throws a comparable onto the market for us. And I think we've seen a lot of cash buyers. And so I think that's helped us keep our appraisals up a little bit. But it is the one thing where you say people, I don't want to pay that much. There will be a counterbalance that will not allow you to pay too much if you're getting lending. Lenders won't do that again.
And as much as we hate that on each individual deal when that happens, especially, and I'm referring to the buyer when it happens, even with the seller, it's frustrating. Overall, we're glad it's happening for the industry, because if we didn't have that check and balance in place, these prices would go up, 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 and eventually that's how a bubble's created, is if we don't have those checks and balances. So anyway, I just heard a drip sound. What was that?
I heard it too.
Ignore behind the curtain.
How did you do that?
That's my alert.
Oh, okay. Next slide. Here's kind of inventory. We'll kind of whip through these. This is kind of our overall inventory from Bingham, Bonneville, Jefferson County. You can see, obviously, most of the inventory is 500 or under. From 500 plus, we have a lot of different homes in there as far as price ranges being represented, but it only is 30 homes. It's 30% of the market. And most of the market's all between, again, it's really between 150 and 400,000 is where we're seeing most of those homes go. Here's Bonneville County, kind of the same story. These are the actives, right, Jess? And we're see the average days on market is higher. All that tells you is that you have people that are overpriced, because notice how the average days on market is so much higher on the active versus the sold. And that's just because they are, you have a lot of homes out there. The inventory that you guys have to look at is probably only half of what it actually is, because half of the homes are overpriced and not moving. So it's even more competitive for you all than the market might even portray on numbers. So that's,
I might even, maybe next time I'll show the pendings, because that's a pretty good indicator of, you look at the closed and then you look at what's sitting out there in the days on market. But then if we look at the pendings, that's where you see the true inventory, because that's out there. It's just not closed yet, but it doesn't show up in the actives.
Yeah, and we're going to see the pendings have average days on market similar to the closed, and that is 30 days or under. So, all right, let's move on let's get a little interest rate update from Mr. Kessler here.
Yeah, you betcha. I mean, if I could share you my screen, I'd show you a graph that we watch to see what the trends are in the interest rate market.
If you want it, we could give you the share if you want it. If you want it, we can get it to you.
Well, let me see if I can.
But if we put you on the spot, we don't have to. But if you want it, we can get it.
I have it up if you want me to show it to you. I think it can be pretty valuable. So this is a graph. If you go back and you look and see what happened to rates back in August 3rd, August 4th. Those were some of the best rates we had seen. And then they went up a little bit. Anything in red shows an increase in interest rates. And we had one of the most stable interest rate markets I've ever experienced over the last three months or so. And we thought at election time something was going to happen, depending on which candidate won the election. Were rates going to go up? Were they going to continue to go down? Were they going to stay the same? And immediately after the election, we saw this big green swing, which caused rates to again hit those levels that we saw back in August. Best interest rates and pricing we've seen. And then
maybe that's what happens when you have two presidents. We have two people that think they won. So
right. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. And it's also what happens when there's uncertainty. You see these big swings, right? And so then yesterday we got the news that they're getting close on a vaccine. And so this gave us a really good indication of what I think rates will do once we have a vaccine and we think we can see the light at the end of the tunnel on this virus. We're going to see rates start to climb, because these last 2 days we've retracted some of the gains that we got. We're still incredible. I mean, if I stop sharing my screen and we go back to yours, rates right now are still where they've been most of the summer. 2.5 on a 30-year conventional, 2.25 for most government programs. So still really, really incredible. And I don't anticipate rates doing a whole lot. I think with stimulus that will be coming and other things the Federal Reserve is trying to do to help continue to, recover, we're going to see rates at these record levels for quite some time.
Excellent. What's close time typically right now on government and conventional financing?
So it's hard for me because I can't really speak for other lenders. So I'm going to toot my own horn a little bit right now, if that's okay.
That's I'm teeing you up, man.
So we did some stats on Monday, and we are on average closing purchase transactions in 15 business days.
Wow.
So that equates to about 3 weeks. And that's not because we have to. That's just our regular turn time right now.
How far out are appraisals, Landon? Did I miss that? Did you already talk about that?
No, I haven't talked about appraisals. We're seeing them back on average 2 to 3 weeks. So that's why when anyone asks me, how quickly can we close a loan, I'm going to tell them minimum of 2 probably, just because, sometimes we can get an appraisal in a week or so. But if we can get that 30-day contract, that's still ideal for us.
Cool. Thank you.
You betcha.
So I'll pick up from here, Chad. So just want to let you guys know, again, as we are a community-faced team or a community-focused team, we had some really fun Nosy Neighbors visits this past month. Bunker Village Paintball, which is a really cool thing. If you guys haven't taken your kids to the auditorium, what a great thing that's for a holiday. There's some great stuff to do with kids that you should check out. Skyline Lanes has some new owners that are really taking it up a notch and doing some fun things. New Sweden Farms we visited, they're probably closed by now. If you haven't visited the Sugared Moose Mini Donuts, don't start. You're not gonna be able to stop. It's so delicious. Also the Handmade Idaho store, which was a really neat, it's a little kind of almost a local Idaho co-op of handmade items. And they've got clothes and jewelry and leather items and woodworking. It's a really neat store. It used to be the Nostalgic Boutique, and they've just changed over to the Handmade Idaho store. Really cool. We also visited Jory Inama, who is our reference point for insurance. And they talked about some things that people really need to think about. I learned a few things on understanding how much insurance you want to have. Has nothing to do with the value of what you're trying to protect. Has to do with how much liability you want to have if someone goes after your assets. That was a mind blower for me. So that video was really interesting to find out how to determine and how cheap it can be to cover your assets. I didn't even try that, and it was funny, you guys.
I laughed.
And then our final thing is we visited Tile Trends just on Friday, and they are helping with the Toys for Tots drive, which we have a box in our lobby for that. Also, Chad, you want to talk a little bit about the substitute teacher?
Oh yeah. So I made a commitment, and it's going to be a hard one, but we promised District 91 and 93 that we would help them get 100 new applications for substitute teachers. My kids, and I've said this a lot, but I'll share it again. A year ago, my kids would have said close schools, but now they already had schools closed. They don't want school closed. In fact, they want it to stay open. It was not as fun as they thought to have that extra long summer, and they miss school. I don't know about anybody else, but that's how they are. And when I've talked to some of my friends who are in principals and vice principals and friends of the district, they don't want to close schools either. What they're looking for, but their biggest risk of having school closure is the lack of substitute teachers. And so they need substitute teachers. And their pool of a substitute teacher is usually about 120 people. And right now it's down to about 40 or 50. And they had a couple weeks ago where they didn't have enough teachers and they ran out of substitutes because they were sick and they had to squirm around. But if they weren't able to find people within a couple weeks, they would have had to have closed schools. So they've been there close once. And I think our community of 110,000 people in Bonneville County, I think we can get 100 people to sign up to be a substitute teacher. I signed up.
Time, Chad, because if people are looking for a little bit extra money for Christmas, it's a super flexible schedule. It's on kids' schedules. It's a way to give back, to be involved in the schools now that they don't have teachers be parents. It's a great thing, and you could do 1 or 2 days a month if you want.
I signed up. I'll be happy to donate a day or two to substitute teach, and you don't have to know the topics. The lesson plans are there. Many times the teachers are still teaching, but they're quarantined and they just need an adult in the classroom. And so just be there kind of, making sure the kids don't get into too much trouble off camera. And Kelly and I going to high school together know that that's necessary.
Yeah, you guys, if you will share out that video that's on Nosy Neighbors, share that to your page and just say, hey, looking for extra Christmas money. This is a great way to help your community and learn a little extra Christmas money and keep the schools open.
Yep, that's right.
Thanks.
Abby was an angel, so she never got into trouble in high school. But that's Kelly and I know we need adult supervision. No,
I was just skipping school, so I never was there.
Super helpful. Just not
being there. Yep. So, all righty. So try to share that and try to get people to sign up to be a sub.
Yep. We'd love that. Just so you guys know what we've got coming up on Nosy Neighbors, we have a really cool demo by ServPro. They showed us the dangers of a grease fire and how to take care of that, and that'll be coming out this week. Also, Easy Detailing, a car detailing shop, the International Institute of Massage, Arcane Marketing, the Eye of Pediatrics, Castlebridge Preschool, which is really neat. It's a nonprofit preschool, Elite Healthcare, and Cocoa Bean Tanning. So we've got some fun local businesses coming up here in the next month.
All right. So let's hear any success stories as we close out. Any success stories anybody has to share for buyers?
I want to give a shout out to Landon, Rockstar. Thanks for everything.
I also want to do the same. Landon's helped me a lot the last month, so.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, we had one of those situations with an appraisal that was a challenge. So happy it worked out, Abby. And thanks, Casey. Appreciate it.
Good job, Landon. Keep up the good work. You have a great team. Any other stories we want to share? We're a little bit over on time, but happy to share any stories. We already kind of had an affiliate partner recognition. And yeah.
I know that we did this last week. Connie spearheaded a shout out to Alliance Title, but like they've also pulled through in some like crazy situations recently. And so thank God for Landon and Alliance.
Good job. Thank you. All righty, everybody. Our first day of snow here. When I looked outside, there wasn't much, but man, the roads were a lot slicker than I thought. They were slick. So keep your distance, drive a little bit slower, and be nice and considerate to other people, because it's a little dangerous figuring out these roads. So, all right, thanks everybody.
If If you want to be in the know on the value of your home, then click on the link or give us a call.
You may feel like prices are high, but there has never been a better time to sell your home and buy a home. Call us and we'll explain why.
Our team has outpaced the market in dollars per home sold and time on the market. If you want to see how your home would sell and how much it would sell for, give us a call.
If you love the idea of having someone to contact at any time, that's the benefit of a team. Give us a call, let us talk about your process and how you can have a better experience, a more satisfying experience in real estate with Murdock Manwaring Company.